Hello everybody, good morning. It is Tuesday, it is May the 5th. I'm Teacher Mark. This is class 5A, and away we go. In math class today, we're going to continue with what we were learning last week, dividing decimals. We're going to keep going over that a little bit. This time it's dividing tenths and hundredths, so it's a little bit different, just adding a little bit more of a next step. The big thing I would say with this is, when it comes to dividing decimals, it's important to keep nice straight columns when you're working the problems, because that really helps in determining where the decimal point goes. With multiplication, it involves more math and then you sort of count after the fact. But with dividing, it's more helpful, I think, to organize things and then do the math. Then you can find the decimal point based on where that leads you. So that's math today. The next thing is language arts. We're going to do a little bit more reading, The Bleeding Scream, which is about Halloween and Augie's experiences. I have a mini lesson video where I talk a little bit more about it. I don't want to give away too many details because it's a pretty interesting part of the story. Don't want to ruin the surprise, but as far as the assignment goes, we just have to read today and then write down 5 words we either don't know or that we don't know very well, challenge words, and we have to write down the definition, the part of speech, and use that word in a sentence. So we have to do that with 5 words. And that's language arts today. In in English, we get to do a little journal entry, and I have a mini lesson video where I sort of explain that a bit more as well. There's also in the daily lesson plan, a little bit below where you find this video, it just says Augie journal entry, and I have some more detailed instructions. I give you some examples, some things maybe to think about when you're writing. But what we're going to do today is just write a journal entry. Pretend that you are Augie and you have lived through this day, the bleeding scream. I don't want to ruin the surprise, but some things happened today, and I think Augie might have some strong feelings about it. And I think you guys are really good at this, sort of putting yourself in the character's shoes and seeing how they feel and how they might react. So we just have to sort of put ourselves in Augie's shoes. Pretend we lived through that day. I don't know, how would you feel? And we just have to write a journal entry, a paragraph of at least 5 sentences. And again, there's more detailed instructions. There's another video, and I have basically a piece of paper here that you guys can look at, which gives you more details and an example. But that's essentially what we're doing. And then in social studies today, we get to talk about what leads up to World War II, which I think is good because last week we talked about World War I, and you don't hear as much about World War I because there was a World War II, which was a lot bigger. But World War I was important in a lot of ways. Unfortunately, for the purposes of history, it's often relegated to being the thing that led into World War II. So, the things we learned last week, I think, will help us going forward in understanding what happens in World War II. So today we're going to learn the causes of World War II. A lot of it stems from the end of World War I and how some of the countries treated the others. If you guys remember, there were 2 powers. There were the Allies and the Central Powers. The Allies won, and they made the Central Powers pay for a lot of things. The countries that lost, they were really big, and after they lost, they were smaller because the winners took little pieces and stuff like that. So that made some of the countries not like each other very much, and it basically leads to World War II. There are a lot of other things in there as well, but that's part of the link to what we learned last week. So we'll basically build on what we learned last week, learn a few things today, which I think will help us on, I guess it'll be Friday. A few days off this week, but yeah, that's all we have to do today. Just watch the Brain Pop lesson. There are some questions after it, and just have to answer those. So, yeah, guys, that's basically it for today. I think we'll be pretty good. The English, I think, is gonna be pretty interesting. It's a good part of the story. So, if you guys have any questions along the way, please ask. Otherwise, have a wonderful day, and I'll talk to you later.